Afternoon headline.
Couple months
Sponsored by Ram Trucks, built to serve. Game 1 tonight is a rematch of the '99 finals. First of the Spurs' 5 championship. Knicks looking for their 3rd championship ever. Last coming in 1973. Let's zoom out. Which team's championship would be better for the league?
Unequivocally, undeniably, the Knicks.
Oh.
And it is not because New York City is the biggest city in America and, you know, a major market that has been championship starved. That's a bonus. The reason it's the Knicks is because a Knicks championship makes a minimum of a half dozen other teams say, yeah, why can't we do that?
Oh.
Nobody looks at the Spurs and are like, we can do that.
Right.
One, because nobody has Wemby, and the other is you literally aren't allowed to do what they did anymore. It's Wemby, Castle, and Harper, 3 top 5 picks. They changed the rules. You're never allowed to have 3 top 5 picks in a row, plus one of them is a 7'5" guy, the likes of which we've never seen. But if the Knicks win the title, you think Tim Connolly in Minnesota are like, hey, what if we had Karl-Anthony? No, but I mean, or the Boston in their build this offseason, or OKC and how they decide to tweak it. Hell, again, it doesn't feel like it right now. People running Detroit, like, okay, like we see it. The Lakers post LeBron and building around Luka, like it will. And as an added bonus, I've said forever that one of the best things that happened in the NBA was the LeBron Wade Heat losing in year 1, because it added so much more suspense to the rest of that era, and it put real stakes on the next time they were in the finals. Oh, you've got to win, all of that. I think that would be really good for the league. Wemby's star is not going to dim massively, if at all, by losing this finals, and so I just think it is better for everyone involved, outside of the Spurs and their fans, obviously, if the Knicks win this title.
I agree with you wholeheartedly.
That's why I wanted to go first, Brew.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, it's clear, and I don't belittle the fact that it is America's biggest city, biggest market, and the Knicks. The Knicks are still kind of viewed as a flagship franchise. I mean, obviously in the Northeast, I think people value the Knicks. Mm-hmm. Around the country, they're not the Lakers, they're not the Yankees, they're not the Cowboys.
No, but in the NBA, other than the Lakers and the Celtics, I think their brand recognition is still about as strong as anybody.
I would disagree. Growing up in the Midwest, the Knicks were the 12th team I thought of when I thought of the NBA. I mean, Philadelphia had Dr. J, and, just the Bulls, of course, came around, and Houston. There are a lot of franchises that are more successful than the Knicks. But this would be fantastic, obviously eliminating the 53-year drought. And then what you said can be boiled down into one word: hope.
Yes.
Because like I said, I really do believe this will be the worst Spurs team for the next 5 years, 3 years, whatever you want to call it. And those young guys are only going to get better. So if they win, teams will be like, man, how are we going to deal with it? You don't quit. You keep trying. But it might be a sense of inevitability about the Spurs winning it. The other thing is this Knicks roster is not phenomenal. They got 2 stars. They one superstar, another star. They've got some depth, and they got the right coach, a very good coach who put together a system, and they play team basketball. Like, there are other rosters that can equal what the Knicks have. And so, if Mitchell Robinson does indeed play a big role in this series, or even if he doesn't and the Knicks win, you can at least point to a blueprint that, okay, if we can do that as well, we can nullify Wemby. So I totally agree that it would be the Knicks.
Dissenting opinion. In my lifetime, and I'm almost 50 years old, Magic and Bird, Jordan, Kobe, Shaq, LeBron, and Steph. Worldwide famous. Approaching, and if you want to go an extra level, it's probably Jordan and maybe LeBron, who are at like soccer.
Michael Jackson level famous.
Yes, like Messi, Ronaldo. I can take a flight anywhere in the world, throw a dart at the map, and I'm famous there. I think Wemby has that potential. And I feel like that is more important.
But that's
To the
I think
league's
that's
hell.
coming.
But think about what you just said. The two most famous guys of your lifetime, Jordan and LeBron. They didn't win until year 7 for both of them. Year 8 for LeBron, year 7 or 8 for both of them.
Yeah.
And so I don't.
9 for LeBron.
Well, LeBron.
Yeah, that's right.
Jordan,
7.
9
Yeah.
for LeBron.
But I feel like face of the league is like LeBron is ready to hand.
But he already
like those
did.
guys.
It's Wemby's, whether they win or not. It's
He's
Wemby's.
the face of the league.
Yeah,
But,
so that's
but certainly it will burn brighter if he wins.
I agree, but I
not
don't
dim,
think.
I
but it
just
will
feel
burn
like
bright.
that's coming. If it don't come this year, it's probably going to come
YOLO.
next year.
Let's go.
No, but I don't think it can be overstated how important the hope for a third of the rest of the league would be burnished by the Knicks winning. Because the Knicks model feels like we can do that. Like
I know we're looking at it from two different perspectives. I'm looking at it from like, what does someone in the
Well,
Czech
Wemby
Republic
is
versus like the
very much
Timberwolves.
liked, like very beloved. I mean, you see the ratings, Western Conference ratings, biggest since the 90s. Like has that Jordan. Even though Jordan dominated the NBA, everybody for the most part loved him. You know, I mean, you had your fan bases, Detroit, New York, that didn't, but everybody loved him. He wasn't polarizing. And I think Wemby is like that. Like, everybody seems to love it. You love watching him. We talk about Shea and Tim Duncan, that they were great or are great, but not that exciting to watch. He's exciting to watch. And so I do agree with you. When he wins, he could be like one of those guys as far as popularity, but I think that's inevitable. It's coming, whether it's this year, next year, it's coming. So it would be good for another team to win.
I'd like to see it right away.
We can talk more about this.
Both of them will
maybe
be
in
good.
more
That'll
game.
be better.
It would be better for the league.
Looking at the stars of Game 1, Brunson versus Wemby. Wemby talked about his emotions after Game 7. I hope that wasn't from today. There's only 5 hours. No, it's from the other day. Is there a chance Brunson outplays Wemby? And if you want to weigh in on if he thinks
Am I worried? Well, I said yesterday, it raised your eyebrows that he was definitely overjoyed and celebrating. But then I thought about Magic Johnson, obviously one of the greatest winners in the sport. Remember what his first game of his career, first game of a regular season game against the Clippers. And Kareem, I think, hit a sky hook to win the game. And Magic hugged him like he had beaten Larry Bird in the NCAA championship. And Kareem was like, dude, we got 81 more of these. Relax, right? So it doesn't have to be a bad thing. I think also, Nick, like they say the first step to overcoming something is acknowledging it. You got a drinking problem, acknowledge it first. He's acknowledged, hey, I was a little unhinged. You know, I got to come down. So I think that is good. They had 3 days to, get it out of their system. And you mentioned the greatness of the Spurs organization. Pop, Duncan, Robinson, Tony Parker. Like, he's got all these guys to talk to, and I'm sure they're like, let's settle down now. We got to recalibrate and win. The job is not done. So I'm not concerned about the emotions. Brunson outplaying Wemby. It's not kind of like Shea. We know Brunson's not a strong defender. He's going to get hunted. And Wemby, regardless of what he does offensively, he's going to be a force defensively. I definitely think Brunson could outscore him without question. But have an overall better game. Look, if the Knicks win and Brunson has more points, people are just going to look at that and say Brunson was the star of the game, and that's fine. But I think it's possible. I feel like there were times I was saying there's no way Shea's going to outplay Wemby because Shea wasn't he was struggling offensively.
And then he did.
And
to Shea's
defensively
credit,
wasn't
he
gonna
did
be.
in Game 7.
Game 7, yeah. I mean, in the end, he didn't do it. But, Wemby didn't do a ton scoring down the stretch. But, he could tonight, but I think Wemby's defense
Can I ask a question about Wemby's defense? Because you mentioned earlier that in the game the Spurs won, the Knicks scored 130.
Yeah, high 130s, I think.
Is there a level of
Was that one of the games he played part-time?
I don't think so. No. But and the game that I was at where the Knicks blew them out in the Garden, the Knicks, I think, scored in the 110th.
Oh, when we went? Oh,
no. I'm talking about I went in March.
Yeah, their average 120.
Right.
Yeah.
Is there a level of points scored by the Knicks where the analysis afterwards will be, well, I guess Wemby didn't have a great defensive game?
Yes.
So you like it feels
if
like
they go inside and score in the paint, then yeah.
But
if they just get hot from three,
sure, I would. Yeah, if they go 20 of 40 from three, that's one thing. But like
they score if they win the game and they're in 110s.
Then I don't think Wemby had a great defensive game. I think because so much of. And this is real analysis, and it's fair. So much of Wemby's defensive impact, we say, doesn't show up in the box score. Right. You know what I mean? It's shots guys won't take. It's teams having to run offense differently. That is 100% correct. But I do wonder if there is a level where, if this is the box score, the defensive impact couldn't have been what we
120.
You know what I mean? What we think it's supposed to be. And some of that, to me, Brew, does show up in the box score in this regard. I am curious what his rebounding number
he's got to
rebound like this series. I mentioned this yesterday. I'll mention it again. You remove the game he got hurt and the game he got thrown out. First 10 games of the playoffs, Wemby averaged 14 rebounds a game. The last 5 games of that OKC series, he averaged 7. And 14 is a great number. 7's bordering on unacceptable.
For him, it's unacceptable.
Yeah, that's what I mean. For him and part of that is his defensive impact in ending the possession. So one of the reasons I am picking the Knicks is I think Brunson's overall impact is going to equal Wemby's. I think.
Really?
Yeah. I mean, I think Brunson is to me a far more reliable offensive player.
Yes.
And I think the Knicks, I'm not Zach Lowe and I'm not a coach, so I can't quite figure out why. But the Knicks have been able to run a very functional offense whenever they've played Wemby. I don't know if it's, and it's not just because they've gotten crazy hot from three. And so even though he's the best defensive player in the league, they have found a way to minimize that impact in a small sample as much as any team in the league.
To your point, in the NBA Cup, Mitchell Robinson had 15 rebounds, I think.
Yeah.
And 11 offensive. So Wemby's going to have, because look, they start Wemby and basically 4 guards.
Correct.
So he's going to have to be better. And I thought OKC, those last few games, did a great job of keeping him off the glass, but he's going to have to get more rebounds.
On that starting Wemby and 4 guards thing, one of the when they switched out Harrison Barnes for Champagnie, they got more shooting. I do wonder how that impacts the plan of against the Knicks. We've talked about it. Wemby's going to match up on Josh Hart. Well, somebody's then matching up on Cat. And Barnes is, much taller than Champagnie, I think stronger than Champagnie, and in theory, a better, post defender than Champagnie. He's not really part of the rotation right now. That's going to be really interesting to see.
Opponents are shooting 56% at the rim against the Spurs in the playoffs.
That's unbelievable.
I know.
56% at the rim is crazy.
At the rim. Joining us now, midfielder for the U.S. men's national team, fresh off of a friendly win over Senegal, is Sebastian Berhalter. Sebastian, thank you for joining us. Yeah, I want to go to this friendly win over Senegal. I know it was just a friendly, and it didn't really affect
the
World Cup. Didn't affect anything. Yeah. But I'm watching him, and I really wanted to win. And it felt like we saw some videos of halftime, and Coach really wanted to win. What was your intensity level during the game? How important was that game?
Yeah, I think you guessed it. We wanted to win. That's these are 2 tune-up games before the World Cup, and it's important. It's important to, show that we can do it, and also just for the fans, to give them something to believe in and something to, to fight for. And hopefully we put all we had out there, and, results aren't always going to go away, but hopefully they could see a team that, gives everything they have and, is always, willing to play for our country and giving it everything we got.
Your coach, who I don't want to say he has been stingy with praise, but I don't think he, just willy-nilly gives out, superlatives about anybody. Called you a monster after the game. And I'm curious, A, and in a positive way, called you a monster, obviously. A, how your reaction to that, if any, and B, how you see your specific role fitting into this team in your first World Cup.
Yeah, he did clarify though that it was, about my face. So but yeah, no, for me, it's just keep doing what I've been doing, and I think from day one, he's believed in me and he's given me a chance, and that's all I can ask for from a coach, and just to be given a chance, and then it's up to me, it's up to me to perform and to be just a good person and a good teammate and a good player. So it's, it's been a long journey, and he's definitely, helped me get to where I'm at, and I'm super thankful for him.
We've talked a lot on our show about the slump that Christian Pulisic was in. How good was it to see? Was it there like a collective sigh of relief that he had not scored in like 154 days, and he broke that drought just in time, seemingly, for the World Cup to begin?
Yeah, it was awesome to see him score, but we believe in him so much that, we knew if it wasn't today, it'd be the next game or the next game. He's a guy that, he's a great leader, and he has so much quality, and it's someone we look to, and, you can see the celebrations there, how much it meant to him. And, we're all happy for him, but we know how much he brings even if he's not scoring. So it's, that's our guy for sure.
When I was getting married, got married at like 3 o'clock in the afternoon.
That's pretty typical.
Yeah.
Yeah, good wedding time.
Yeah, it's perfect because it's nice weather.
Yeah, nice. You have night
But anyways,
party
I
after.
woke up at 7 a.m. or like 6 a.m. and I'm like, what am I supposed to do now? I'm like getting married today. And I didn't know what to do with those 9 hours because it was like one of the biggest moments in my life coming up that day. You've got 8 days until the World Cup is in your home country. How is your day-to-day? How are you preparing for Germany, which matters, but it's still friendly? How are you preparing for Paraguay, our first game? Is there an element of excitement or just raw prep? Or are you just playing video games? Like, what's the balance of intensity and chill?
It's a good question. I think the thing that gives me confidence is going through my processes and going through my routines. And I know once I have those dialed in, I feel like, that's what makes me who I am. And those are the things that are going to get me ready for the games. Like, I'm not saying we have to be super intense right now. Guys are playing poker. Guys are, having fun and watching Love Island together. First episode came out yesterday, so just having fun. But I think this group does a good job of the balance. The balance of when we're on the field, really giving 110%, and then also off the field, we're all boys. We're all dogs, and we just all enjoy being together. So I think it is a balance, but I think, our team does a good job in knowing when to turn it on and, knowing when we just need to enjoy each other's company.
We've obviously been talking a ton about the NBA Finals and the star of the Knicks, Jalen Brunson. His dad is an assistant coach. His dad, played in the league for a long time. And, there are a lot of videos, kind of now famous social media videos of when he was a little kid, his dad doing drills with him and kind of preparing him for this moment. Your dad obviously played professional soccer, was the previous coach of the U.S. men's national team. What, in this lead up, I'm sure, he was very influential in your whole career, but right now in this moment, what is not your relationship, but what advice is he giving you? Is he trying to take a step back? Are you leaning on him? Like, how does that work when you have a very unique experience as far as your dad having coached in these games and having been in a similar, not the exact same, but a similar position as you?
Yeah, you're right. He's, played in 2 World Cups and then been a coach in a World Cup. So he's got all the experience in the world. And I think our relationship is, he's my dad, but he's also, I think, my best friend. And I think that's what makes it, nice that it's not like, talking to him, it's like, oh, I'm talking to someone who's already done all this and, is like asking for his approval or like, is this the right thing or wrong thing to say to him? Like, he's like my best friend, and we just have conversations, not always about soccer, sometimes it's just about life or whatever we're talking about. And to have someone like that in your corner is special, and not a lot of people get to have that. So I'm fortunate, and I definitely lean on him and use him as a tool, but also he's my best friend. So I think that's yeah, that's the best part about it.
That's pretty great.
That's awesome.
Yeah, well, he also said recently that he could not have put you on Team USA, on the national team, because people would have claimed favoritism. What was your reaction when you heard that?
Yeah, I mean, it's something that, I know that if I ever did have a chance, I would have to work, show 2 times as much as anyone else. And that's kind of been my whole life, since growing up. My dad was a coach when I was in the academy, in the kind of younger age groups. And, people always said, oh, you're here because your dad and all this stuff. And I'm used to that, I'm used to relishing in that and using it as fuel. That's something that, again, if I got to play for my dad, especially for the national team, it'd be the most incredible thing. But, I know our time will come. And, for me, it's just about right now taking care of business and then hopefully, linking up with him someday in the future.
Next friendly against Germany. What are we working on things? Are we treating this as like a I know it is a pre-World Cup game, but it felt like, we made a bunch of substitutions in the second half. What's the game plan, or what's your mindset for the Germany game?
Yeah, the game plan, it's, up to Mauricio and the staff, and, depends how, line up and who's playing, whatever it is. That's not up to us, obviously. But then, yeah, our mindset's like we're taking it like it's a World Cup game, and this is a team that Germany's a really talented team, and they have really good players, and they're favorites to win the whole thing. So it's going to be a great test, and they're going to have a lot of quality, and it's going to be a tough game. I know that. I know they have the quality to hurt us, and if we're not on our game, it's going to be tough. But that's the games I think you want before a World Cup. I think you want to test yourself and show that you belong among these teams. And even if you don't, even if whatever happens, I think there's still a lot of room to learn, and learn for when you're playing these games in the round of 16 or the quarterfinals, whatever it is, playing against these big teams.
You've obviously, I'm sure, been doing some advanced scouting of the teams in your group. First game's against Paraguay. There's going to be a lot of American folks watching the game that, believe it or not, probably have never seen Paraguay's national team play. They don't know they don't know much about the team. Without revealing any, thing from your guys' specific scout, who is someone, or what is something about Paraguay, the team you're going to be taking on, that folks should watch for, that you have noticed, whether it's a particular player or a style that they play?
Yeah, well, they're aggressive, and they're going to come out guns blazing, and that's just how they are. I would say number 14 on their team, his name's Andres Cubas. He's one of my best friends. We play in the same team there. We play the same position. So I play every game with him in Vancouver. We've been talking about this game to each other for a while now, and he's always been on the team, and for me, it's always been trying to make the team. So I had the chance to play against him. That's going to be, he's been my idol, honestly. I haven't started a lot in Vancouver the first, 3 or 4 years I was there, and he was always a starter. And, I was always telling him one day, we're going to play together, we're going to be great together. And, just playing alongside him is amazing. And he's such a good person and a good player. But, when we're on the field, I want to kick his ass, and I want to, whatever I have to do, run through him, whatever it is, he's one of their good players. So it'll be fun, playing against one of my best friends. And, in the 90 minutes, we're not friends. I promise you that. And I think he'll say the same thing. And then, after the game, we'll have our moment. But yeah, he's a great midfielder, and it'll be fun to play against.
That's great.
Awesome.
Sebastian, I know you also wanted to set Nick straight about Wemby versus Jalen Brunson.
We gotta go.
He's a basketball. He's gonna be watching the finals like the rest of us.
I mean, yeah, I just heard the shout. Look, I'm not an expert. You guys are the experts, so I gave my opinion. And, I think Wemby is insane, and I love seeing young players like that. With his routines and his processes. He really takes the game seriously, and he loves the game, and you can see that. It's inspiring from someone from another sport. To see someone that young to take so much responsibility and care in what they do is motivates me. So, may the best team win, but I'm definitely going to say I'll take Wemby over Brunson, but that's just me.
Thank you, Sebastian.
Thank you, Sebastian.
Best of luck in the World Cup.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys. Thanks for having me on. Appreciate it.
Thanks for watching. Subscribe here to get more from the show and to check out clips from other shows on FS1.